John, now let's look at the future. I mean, Mick McCarthy is in the frame. He's favourite, some people say. Stephen Kenny, of course. And I'd like to think Neil Lennon would be somebody that would be considered. He did a great job at Celtic, and you know he's at Hibs now. I don't think things are going great there. You've gone and said that Mick McCarthy would be your choice. Is it a good idea to go back?
Well, it can be in certain situations, Eamon, and it can be a disaster in other situations. And I might be wrong here, but did the manager of Denmark have a go at it before years ago?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't think
he was. No, he wasn't, John. He was never manager of Denmark.
Was he not?
He managed Norway. He's a Norwegian. He managed Norway, and he managed all the Scandinavian countries at club level. In all the Scandinavian countries at club level. But he was manager of Norway.
Yeah, and he didn't. I don't think he did very well there. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, it can and it can't be. It depends on the situation, and. You know, what happened over the years, I mean, what happened with I think Mick McCarthy did a very good job with the Irish team leading up to the Saipan situation, which was a disaster after that. If you look at his club jobs, he did a very, very good job at Wolves. He got them up with no money. They didn't do well, and he was sacked because it weren't doing well in the First Division. What was then the First? I think the First Division anyway. And lately at Ipswich, I think he did a terrific job at Ipswich. He hadn't got a penny to spend. They were mid-table, and the chairman got fed up with them being in mid-table and got rid of him. Now they're at the bottom of the league. So you can only go on what they did in certain circumstances, Eamon. And if I had a choice now, I would go for Mick McCarthy.
Liam, if you had a choice, Lennon, Stephen Kenny, who has done an amazing job at Dundalk over a long period of time. I mean, he loses players every summer as well because they do so well. Some of them go to English clubs, and he restocks. They play a passing game. They play with a high tempo, and when they've played in the European games, the qualifying rounds, they've done really, really well. Very lucky not to qualify a couple of years ago for the knockout stages of the Champions League. Who would you opt for? What about Neil Lennon, Liam?
Yeah, I like Neil. Any of the three, I'd be happy with him, and I'd be supportive of.
Yeah.
You know, Mick is tried and trusted. He has a track record of doing very, very well at international level. I don't think he has the players. If he does take the job, I don't think he has the players that he had before. Nowhere near it, you know. So he's going to find that a difficulty. But the other two, Neil Lennon plays football the way I like to see it. Did a great job at Celtic, as you said. Wanted to have a change. He went to Bolton, that didn't work out, but he's doing a good job at Hibs again. I saw Celtic Hibs a few weeks ago live. I was up at Celtic Park, and Hibs really tried to play. The game finished 4-2, but he had his players playing in a very attractive way, so I wouldn't have any problem with any of them. I think probably Stephen Kenny would give an injection to Irish football at home that perhaps it needs is recognising, but we don't know. We don't know what's going in the FA. Who's picking them? Is it John Delaney alone? Is it the board? We just don't know where they're going to come down or why. They don't tell us, so we'll never know, I suppose.
Well, maybe John knows, Liam. John, who's doing the picking?
I don't know. I'm on the outside. I've often said the last thing I'd want in my life is my life dependent on picking a successful manager, Eamon.
Oh, I'd love it.
I would keep. I would give you my opinion. Pardon?
I'd love to be a manager.
Eamon, you never got the chance to pick them, but you sacked loads of them. you got loads of them to sack.
It's my job in life,
including Mick McCarthy.
Yeah, well, I interviewed Mick a couple of months ago, and he was extremely friendly towards me, and he said he forgave me for everything, and he understood where I was coming from. There is one other very serious.
Well, a few of us have done that.
Now, John, I want to ask both you and Liam. There is talk of a dream ticket, and it's a Mick McCarthy with Robbie Keane coming in as his number 2. Now, I've written a piece for the Star today which I'm full of praise for Mick McCarthy. I think he's a much better manager now than he was, because he's been around, as you said, John, Ipswich and Wolves, and he's always done a really good job wherever he's been. But what I do say in the Star also is, and what I believe, I've huge admiration for Robbie Keane as a person and as a footballer, but I think he's doing his badges now. I don't think work experience should be done with an international team. So I don't think it's a dream ticket. I think Mick would need someone who's actually worked with players and is capable of working with players. What do you think?
I wouldn't pick Robbie Keane, Eamon, to come into it. I mean, Robbie Keane has been a very, very good, terrific player for us as a player. He hasn't had any experience whatsoever in management, and this is a very, very serious job. I think in Robbie's case, I think he has to go and prove himself elsewhere in management if that's what he wants to do. But I would not pick him as assistant manager for the Irish team right now.
Liam?
I'd have him in the makeup of the staff. All right, I'd like to see him there. I worked with him when I was with Trapattoni, and Robbie is a bubbly character. He could maybe show the strikers where to hit the goal, I think he would be a valuable person to have in the makeup of the staff. He certainly could contribute. I'm not kidding when I say that. He could certainly contribute to maybe some drilled exercises, scoring goals and things like that. How he makes positions to get goals. All that information that Robbie would have could be invaluable to. We've got Shane Long, and then we've got a list of lads who are very young, and to have Robbie Keane telling them things, I think would be a very, very good thing. Look, Trapp had myself and Marco. Martin O'Neill had Roy Keane, Guppy, Steve Walford. Why can't Robbie have the experience of seeing what it's like? I'd go for Robbie, but in the staff makeup, not necessarily as Mick's number two.
I would agree with that, Eamon. I'd have no problem being on the coaching staff. Definitely, as teaching the strikers the position that he did expertly and brilliantly for Ireland over the years. Definitely, no problem with that. But not in a managerial position with the team.
My own view is that he has an awful lot to offer Irish soccer, any soccer. I think Robbie Keane is highly intelligent, a fantastic player, with a big future in the game, in the management side of it, the coaching side of it. It's just that as a number two, but I'd go along with that. I mean, what Liam's suggestion is that he has a role, but you do. Then there's a lad, I think, Terry Connor, who's been with Mick. He was with him at Wolves and also with him at Ipswich. And I think he is very close to Mick, and I think they see themselves as a team, so he might be the answer. One other question I'd like to ask both of you. John, ask you first. The draw for the Euros is on the 2nd of December, Sunday week. Now, people are saying it has to be, we really should have a manager in place by then, a coach in place. I'm not sure it's necessary to get it quick rather than to get it right.
Oh, get it right, Eamon. Definitely get it right. I mean, the draw is going to be made, and if the manager is there, the new manager is there or not, it's not going to make any difference to the draw, and they're not going to be playing an international match for a while.
March.
So there's no great rush to be there for the draw. I don't see that. I don't see any relevance at all to appointing the new manager and being there at the draw. No, I think getting the right person is the most important thing. And if it takes longer than the draw, then so be it.
Yeah, Liam.
Yeah, I would agree totally with you and with John on that. Yeah, get it right. But who's going to pick him?
Well, that's the point, Liam, and I mean, this is what people are saying. In fact, we've had some Facebook posts ourselves about John Delaney. He is the person that now the fans, and for a long time.
But in the past, Damon, he's used ex-players as to help him in the process. Is that going to happen? I haven't heard anything from John Delaney apart from his statement about about Martin and Roy leaving. You know, I haven't heard anything about how they're going to go about picking the new manager. Shouldn't we? These are the custodians of Irish football, these people. Shouldn't they let the Irish public know how they're going about their business?
Yep. John, can I put that to you?
I don't know how you'd let him know, Liam. I mean, if John Delaney is making calls to different people, then you're not going to know about that. I mean, he's not going to come out and say, well, this is what we're doing and this is what we intend to do. I mean, he's in charge of picking the team.
No, but is he the sole person that's going to pick the manager, John?
Well, there's no.
Shouldn't we know that if he is?
They don't have a management team, Liam. I mean, how many do you need to pick the manager?
Well, hold on, John. John, I think it's a I think Liam's question is totally legitimate.
I'm not saying it's not legitimate, Eamon. I'm giving my answer to it. I didn't say it wasn't legitimate. Go ahead, anyway.
Go on, Liam. I mean, I agree with... I'll put this to you, John. I agree with Liam. We need to know how the job is going to be given, who is going to make the decision, and how the decision is going to be made. Is it going to be made by one person, and that is John Delaney, who is the most powerful man in Irish football? Does he consult with the FAI board? I remember a time before, I think, when there was a few ex-players involved in picking the manager. But we are.
Well, I don't know if they picked it. I think the thing was he sought the advice of those particular players and different people. I don't know. He might be doing that now. I mean, we don't know. I'd say John Delaney will be responsible for picking the manager. There's no doubt about that. And I'd be very surprised if he wasn't looking around and seeking advice from different people. That's all I'm saying. But you can't have a board, I don't think, picking the manager, because they'll all have different opinions on who they're going to pick. I mean, it has to come down to one man in the end.
Right.
Now, whether John Delaney is the right man or not, that's a different point altogether. But it has to come down to one man. You can't have a board saying, well, there's 4 on the board, and, well, I'd go for 2 and one would go... You know what it's like when somebody's picking a manager, Eamon. I mean, it's very seldom you, I and Liam agree that we pick the same manager or the same team. But certainly, if you were picking the in the position, if you were, Eamon, right, and you were responsible for picking, of course you would seek advice, but you can't leave it to a board. That's my opinion on it.
Liam?
Yeah, well, I think we should know how it's going to happen. That's all I'm saying.
How can he tell you, Liam? How can he tell you it was confidential?
Right, I'd like to hear from him. Yeah, I'm picking the next manager. I'm responsible for picking the next manager. I'm going to ring Ray Houghton. I'm going to ring Andy Townsend. I'm going to ring whoever he's going to ring.
Eamon Dunphy?
No, Eamon Dunphy, Liam Brady will definitely be ruled out. But I'm going to ring so-and-so.
John Giles, Liam.
Well, I'd have John involved. Yeah, absolutely. I'd have him involved. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I've got the hump with. There's nobody on that board that has any professional, any football experience at a really professional level.
Yeah. Yeah,
but that's wrong, you know.
No, well, Liam, first of all, you don't know what John Delaney's doing. He might be doing what you're saying.
Yeah, but he's working for us. He's working. He's working.
Hold on, John.
Working for the Irish football public. Yes. He's working for us, and he's working for the board. Okay, so we should know how he's going to go about picking the manager.
Well,
I totally agree with that, John.
Let me give you an example. Hang on, let me give you an example. If John Delaney got in touch with me for advice, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want anybody to know about that.
I can tell. Why would you? Why did
he do it before then, John? Why did he tell the public before that he was seeking advice from various ex-players when we've picked managers in the past?
Why wouldn't you want people to know, John?
Because I wouldn't want the responsibility, Eamon.
What?
I can give you my opinion. I've always said, the last thing I'd want in my life is having the pressure of picking a successful manager. And if I was given information to John Delaney, this is from my own self, maybe by other people too, I would want it to be confidential.
All right, Liam. I wouldn't want it to be confidential if I was given advice.
Well, you're different to me, Eamon. I'm talking about me. That's what I would want. If you want to give confirmation and you don't want that's your opinion, and that's what you want to do.
Okay. Well, I see, John. No, I get John's point. I see that. But shouldn't John Delaney be telling us that he's going to seek advice as a sounding board of ex-players, and he doesn't have to name the players, about the various options?
He would say that to you, Liam.
Well, I wish he would come out and tell us.
I could be very convinced that that is what he's doing.
Well, I wish he would come out and tell us. That's all I'm saying, John.
Well, I don't see the big difference in it. Ultimately, he's going to be responsible for picking the new manager, and he has to take the responsibility of that.
Yeah, I mean, just to put this point to you, Liam, and indeed to John, I mean, to be fair to Delaney, which isn't a popular thing to say, but I thought Trapattoni was a great choice, and Tardelli and Liam Brady. I thought that was. I would. I think I said on television that was the happiest day of my life. I thought that was a fantastic choice. So I wouldn't.
It wasn't a bad choice, was it? It wasn't a bad choice. I know you had no time for the way Trapp actually played the football, but we got to a World Cup playoff, and we you know what happened with the handball and so forth, and then we got to the Euros. Okay, we didn't perform well in the Euros, but we had a hell of a group, the group of death, definitely.
Yes.
And then it all petered out. So, but he wasn't a bad choice. Nor was Martin O'Neill a bad choice. No. But I just we knew in the past. We knew in the past how John Delaney was going about it. This time round, I haven't heard anything.
Right, and I just when Liam references the group of death there for younger listeners, the group of death was Spain and Croatia, and it was a hell of a group.
And Italy and Spain played in the final.
And Italy, yeah.
That was difficult. But I mean, Liam said we were all in agreement with Trapattoni, and we were all in agreement with I think Liam was as well, with Martin O'Neill.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely. What I mean, it's obviously like every manager has a lifespan, and so did Trapattoni did, so did Martin O'Neill. That's the way it works. So, like whatever way he picked it last time, Liam, we all agreed with what he did.
There's one other factor.
Yeah, but he told us last time what was going on. I'm not hearing anything. Yeah. I remember he had Ray Houghton. Ray Houghton was a public face of it. Ray helped him.
That's right. I remember that.
I do remember that.
I sat by my phone for weeks waiting.
You're still sitting by the phone.
I am, yeah, and I'd still be waiting. Just one other point, lads. The finances of this. I mean, it's astonishing the amount of money that Martin O'Neill was on. It is reported to be 1.9 million, so he clearly got a big rise in January after the Denmark debacle at the Aviva. Money is a consideration because Dennis O'Brien was funding the Trapattoni experience, and he also funded the Martin O'Neill thing at the beginning until last year. So money's an issue now as well, isn't it, Liam?
Yeah, but I don't think there's any shame in coming out and saying, look, we can't afford A, B or C, because they're just simply asking for too much money. We've got to cut our cloth accordingly.
Yes.
But I think of the three lads we've mentioned, the three candidates that we think are in the frame, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Financially, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
No, John, that's a point, isn't it, though? It won't be a problem because clearly McCarthy and Stephen Kenny have both said they want the job, and we don't know about Neil Lennon, but we wouldn't be talking telephone numbers. I mean, English mobile numbers as well, not landline numbers. It's serious stuff. And just a final thought from both of you. John, if this time we get it wrong, it would be very serious. But there's one other factor here, and Liam raised it during the week, and it's this. We have to have an analysis, a root and branch look at the grassroots of the game, the underage teams, what's happening in schoolboy football and in the League of Ireland. We have to do something for the future, for the long-term future and good of the game, about producing players.
Yeah, but
it's a separate issue from what the team manager's job, but it should be, we need to know what's going on and we need to have structures in place to produce players.
Well, it has to happen. It's what the public want to happen. Yeah. We don't understand what's going on. And Delaney has to tell us that it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, he should go.
Yeah.
He definitely should go if this doesn't happen. There needs to be, as you said, a complete analysis on what's going on and how we can rectify it, and it can't start soon enough.
No,
so he needs to do it, and if he doesn't do it, I don't think the public will accept him anymore as chief executive.
Right.